All right, so in this demo, I really quickly want to show you how you can correct some of the noise that might be in an audio track that's attached to your movie, and also your like the noise as well as maybe a little bit of an echo. So if you listen to this, it's this, listen to the voice track. There's also, down below there's a music track, but if you listen to this voice track.
7. It's a basketball platform for basketball players, created by basketball players, you know.
It sounds a little low, and also like the dynamics are a little low. Also, there's a little bit of noise and there's a little tiny bit of an echo. So what we can do is we can actually, it's not too bad though, but we can right click this and we can go up to edit clip in Adobe Audition. And so it'll open up an Audition. And what you'll be able to do is see here that you've got some areas where there might be some noise, and it's going to be in the parts where you're not talking, right, or where the voice isn't talking. And so this is one of the reasons why it's really good if you can do this first with an original clip before you start to edit the voice clip. You can get this to happen all the way across your clip before you start cutting it up. But in this example, it was already cut up, and so I'm going to show you how you could go backwards to correct something. So this is probably a place where someone's not talking, and if you want to figure out how to get to that, you probably opens up right here in a waveform, and so you can come up here to get the spectral frequency display. All right, this little button, and then if you choose your time selection, you can just like put your cursor kind of at a different time selection, and you can listen to maybe like what this sounds like to see if he's not talking here. So
really where a lot of.
All right, so you can kind of see here where.
So that's really.
All right, so you can see right here, there's a little bit of noise that comes off of the sibilance. S is the sibilance where you have sounds, right? There's also a little bit of noise here as well. All right, but we can take this and we can look at that as maybe a way to drop the noise out. And what it'll do is it'll take that kind of noise and it'll remove it from across the whole clip. Let's check this out too.
It's a bad.
And it sounds like that's a something like an inhalation.
It's a bad.
Yeah, so that's like an inhalation. This might also be. Yeah, so we can kind of get rid of those a little bit if they seem to be kind of problematic. All right, so what I can do is I can highlight that. And if you don't want to highlight the entire thing, like if you don't want to go all the way to the top of the spectral frequency down all the way to the lowest part, then what you can also do is you can take the marquee tool like this, and you can also just select it in that way. Okay, so I could like literally just select that portion right there. And then what I can do is I can right click it and I can tell it then to capture a noise print. And it gives me this little pop-up. It says this is going to get applied the next time you do something with noise removal. So if I go up to effects and I choose noise reduction restoration, and then I choose noise reduction process, all right, then I want to select for the entire clip right here. And you can also mess around with some stuff. You want to remove the spectral decay. You want to lower that all the way down, and that'll get rid of some of the extra room noise. Okay, and you can mess around with these, but these are the two things that I would recommend right now. If you want to listen to it, there's this little green power button. So I'm going to hit the.
And that's really what excites me about
this key.
24/7.
And then if I turn it off,
for basketball players, created by basketball players,
you can hear a little bit of that echo and the extra
we
noise.
Really wanted to make something that we would
turn it back on, and so it limits it. Okay.
Really where a lot of our focus went into is
and then
creating something.
While it's changing,
for the basketball community that we knew would get great use.
You could also check these other things too and mess around with them. But this is what I would recommend: just that simple application. Hit apply. It goes through and it starts to remove some of that material. And then, like, if you really don't like the way that something sounds, like here, let's say it didn't remove it.
It's a basketball platform.
You could actually
for basketball players, created by basketball players.
You could literally just choose to remove that section if you wanted, and it looks like it goes all the way up the spectral frequency, kind of. So I could choose my timeline here, and it's not going to actually remove the time if I do this. If I just hit delete, actually, yeah, it did. Sorry, I can't do that. Let's go back to the marquee. Sorry about that. Because I actually don't want to change the time print on it. So I'm going to remove just this material, right? And If there's still some more here down at the bottom, I can remove that too. All right, and so you see it got rid of that inhalation. Let's see how that sounds. Oops, let's go back right there.
24/7. It's a basketball platform for basketball players, created by basketball players. It's 3 years in the making. We really wanted to make some.
So it's a little bit cleaner, and the other thing too is that if there are some really high spots up here, that might be where some of the S's are. So you could mess around with that as well. Let's just take a listen to where some of these highest peaks are.
Our focus went into is really creating something.
And it's mostly where some of the S's are. So let's just see what happens if I were to take some of these highest peaks. We can always undo this and just hit the delete key. All right, and so now if I pull this back and hit play, oops, hold on, I have to deselect.
24/7. It's a basketball platform for basketball players, created by basketball players. It's 3 years in the making. We really wanted to make something that we would want to use, and so that's really where a lot of our focus went into, is really creating something for the basketball community that we knew would get great use, that would be put to use. And that's really what excites me.
So that sounds pretty good. So if we go ahead and save this, something else too that you can also fool around with if you want to get rid of a little bit of an echo and also mess with the dynamics to make it a little bit brighter and louder, is you can also go over here to the effects rack, right? So make sure that your effects rack is showing. If it's not, you can find it by clicking this little double arrow. And then right out next to the first effect, I can go over here and click this right arrow, and I can go to noise reduction restoration, and you could mess with the dehummer like if you had a hum in there, but we don't. I just want to show you that. But here we can go to amplitude and compression, and I'm going to go to, there are two things here that you might want to fool with. There's the de-esser. I sort of got rid of some of the sibilants. All right, so if we go to the de-esser, you can filter really simply, like for a male voice in this case, it's a male de-esser. I want to do that. So let's listen to it. Oops, there we go.
It's a basketball platform for basketball players, created by basketball players. It's 3 years in the making. We really wanted to make something that we would want to use, and so that's.
And it's actually not making that big of a difference, but if you wanted to add it, you could. That's really up to you. All right, so anyway, I'm going to close that, and there was no place to apply it because the application of the effects are down here. So I'm also going to go here as well, and I'm going to go back to amplitude and compression, and I want to show you dynamics processing. So this is how it currently sounds.
Is really creating something.
One of the things that you could do is you could go just to voiceover, for instance.
Use, that would be put to use.
And you can hear that it like automatically pops it up, right?
And that's really what excites me about Hoop 24/7.
And if I turn it off,
it's a basketball platform for basketball players, created by basketball players. It's 3 years in the making.
Right. Really so you can hear how it's getting popped up and popped down whenever I turn this on and off. Now, one of the things that I went ahead and did, you can do a custom one where you mess around with this line a little bit. And so I already went ahead and I created a custom one. All right, and so let's listen to that.
And so that's really where a lot of our focus went into, is really creating something.
And so by pulling this up higher, it makes it a little bit brighter and louder. And by pulling the line down a little bit here, it gets rid of some of the echo sound that's in there, and it kind of muffles it a little bit. So let's listen to it a little bit more as I toggle this on and off.
Put to use.
Let's try it again.
Really what excites me about Hoop 24/7. It's a basketball platform for basketball players, created by basketball players.
That's off.
It's 3 years in the making. We really wanted to make something
this is on.
we would want to use, and so that's really where a lot of our focus went into, is really creating something.
So that might be a good way to address this. And now what I would want to do is come down below, and where it says selection only for the process, I actually want to choose the entire file, right? And I want to hit apply. And then you can always listen to the playback and make sure it sounds okay.
And that's really what excites me about Hoop 24/7.
All right, and so we're okay. And you can see it's starting to get up in the yellow down here if you look at the playback bar.
It's a basketball platform.
But it's not into the red. So I think we'll be okay, and you can always lower the level of it once you pull it back into Premiere. So anyway, I'm going to save this file. And now the cool thing is if I go and close this, and then I go back, you can see that the height of the waveform is much higher because of the dynamics processing that we just did. So if you pull it back here, Let's listen to it.
And that's really what excites me about Hoop 24/7.
And so it's nice and loud now without being too loud up here in the red.
3 years in the making. We really wanted to make something that we would want to use. And so that's, we really want a lot of.
Now, if we compare that, for instance, to this that hasn't been processed, let's listen to this.
Our primary focus with Hoop 24/7.
See how much better that sounds, okay? So that's how you can use the inline editing feature, where you just right-click and go to edit your audio track right into Audition, and you can filter out some of the noise and change some of the dynamics, get rid of some of the echo, brighten it, pop it up a little bit, and so there you have it.